Wonderful, wonderful group and some of the best teachers I've ever met in my entire career. So I applaud you. Ladies and gentlemen, these teachers here and all the teachers throughout America work so hard, they're so dedicated. I believe they are the heroes of the future. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Phil Donahue.
I worked so hard to get that front part of the hair. Well, it was 40 years ago that picture was taken, and I pray that I haven't changed that much. Somebody in the parking lot said, "Hey, Merv." After 26 years of doing a talk show, I have reached a few conclusions about the world and the people who populate it. In a sense, what I was doing all those years was making a social study of the times in which we live, and a very nice living as well. With the variety of subjects we've dealt with over a quarter of a century, subjects as varied as nuclear disaster and male strippers, a pattern emerges. People are interested in people, and their behavior is not only a product of learned responses, but a preview of things to come. Not everyone can have the luxury of his or her own talk show, although lately it seems like an earnest attempt is being made to rectify that situation. But everyone can have access to materials that explore the basis of society and examine the social forces that define the world. In educational parlance, this is known as social studies, and the teachers who assume the responsibility of passing on the information in an interesting and meaningful way are the guardians of the future. They reveal the triumphs and the failures of society, why some systems worked and others didn't, and what the requirements are for young people to become responsible adults and good citizens. I've been fortunate to have an audience numbering in the millions all these years, but I do feel certain, and I do feel also that I am speaking to a choir that will agree. The social studies teachers, all teachers who address a class of 30 or 40 students every day, can make an even greater impression and a more lasting one on the lives of their pupils. And they don't even have the benefit of those male strippers as visual aids. Here are 3 teachers of social studies who represent the finest in the nation.
Imagine studying American history by walking a Civil War battlefield or examining Eisenhower's orders to his troops. And you'll have an idea of what it's like to be in Jim Percoco's history classes in Springfield, Virginia.
History allows us to experience life. And those letters and those documents that I bring in, they all speak to the heart of the human condition. This photograph here are Native Americans, and they were known as the Navajo Code Talkers.
His enthusiasm, his energy made you want to work so much harder just to keep up with him.
I really think my class is a vehicle for promoting unity among the races.
Anybody can tell you that there was a World War, but can they tell you why there was a World War? Mr. Percoco can.
What was Booker T. Washington once? Right, he's a former slave. I want them to really empathize with people who went before them, while at the same time getting a sense of who they are as members of the human community. I'm not so sure I chose to be a teacher. I sometimes wonder if teaching chose me.
For the past 21 years, Helen Smith Kidwell has been teaching history at Pace Academy in Atlanta. Despite her reputation as the toughest teacher in school, Helen is one of the most respected because she challenges her students to think for themselves.
Times that make me the happiest are the times when I am not needed. When I say to you, we are going to have fun, we are going to read primary sources, what am I really doing?
Trying to con us into having fun.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
Overnight, we
Overnight.
price controls.
That's not capitalism.
She knows that all teenagers thrive on conflict, so she really works at getting us angry at her, getting us mad about the history, mad about what she's saying, trying to get us to fight back with her.
I want them to develop a sense of the sweep of history, the chronology, that it deals with real people making real decisions. that it's not just names and dates. I want them to come out feeling like they have achieved on their own, that they've had to strive, they've had to work, and that then they have actually accomplished something because of this work.
For years, Morris High School in the Bronx was considered a dumping ground for New York City schools. Andrew Turre is fighting to change that. More than just a dedicated social studies teacher, Andrew is a community leader, a role model, and a friend. Heavy responsibilities that he does not take lightly.
I see myself more as a facilitator, as a middle person, as if you will, another student in the class, rather than someone who knows or has the answers.
So how can citizens reclaim their government? Okay, you're on.
We must cut down on the power of money because
we had debates. He took us on trips, and he made the class interesting. It wasn't like dull and boring. We just had to sit there and listen to him talk all the time. We actually learned something with him.
There's one thing that I've learned from the kids. They have ability to do more than let on. And it only takes someone who expects them to learn that and to work with them and to get that out of them.
With us here tonight are the three honorees: James Percoco, Helen Smith Kidwell, and Andrew Turre. And the outstanding social studies teacher is James Percoco.
Whoa. I promised my principal, Glenn Bates, before I left on Monday that I would maintain a sense of decorum and poise here. Because when I received the phone call from her that let me know that I was in the final 36, once I was done, she couldn't hear for 3 days. Teaching is very, very special to me. And it's special because it's with people. And it's people like these 35 other individuals that are here. It's people like Booker T. Washington. It's people like Harriet Tubman. It's people like George Armstrong Custer and all the good guys and all the bad guys that went before us. And if there's one thing I want my students to understand, is to understand that we're all people. We all got good points, and we've all got bad points. But just the same, we're all people. A couple of people I want to thank: my family, my wife, Gina, my good friend and mentor from my own high school days, Neil Adams, my colleagues at West Springfield High School, and one very, very special individual who's helped me along the way, my friend Mac. Thanks, Mac.